There are 10 million particles in the universe for us to observe. Your mama took the ugly ones and put them into one
Jeez,
nerd.
Miles.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Knock
having
it
seen
off,
neither of
man.
these
I
swear
movies
to
and wanting
God.
to watch both,
All
I think I
right,
will
we're
depart.
recording. We're ready. It can
Okay.
happen now.
Oh, let's just do it now.
Let's just
I need
start.
a quick palate cleanser.
Who frickin' okay. Who um All right. So, do we want to do the jingle first? Do we still do that here?
Oh my gosh.
It was
Yeah,
like
we can do that.
uh,
Man.
Yeah, how,
it was
Can
like
anyone
Jeez, how's it
total
gonna work?
recap.
Yeah, it was like the
We like
humming.
acapella'd it,
Oh
right?
Right.
yeah,
Oh, I like the Mortal Kombat one though.
that one's kind of hard to do in this setting.
Yeah, in this setup.
And yeah. So total recap.
Do we have we should make a Oh, are we going?
Wait,
Hang on, I'm
What
looking at the
what are you
soundboard.
suggesting? Oh,
I'm looking at the soundboard in case we have something that we could use.
we could use this. Hold on.
Clam fritter. Oh.
Ugh.
It needs to be more like a sound effect.
All right, well,
Dab, dab, dab,
welcome,
dab, dab.
welcome YouTube to our soundboard.
All right, ready?
Baba Booey.
All right.
Yeah, sure. That works. All right.
I'm scared to
Yeah.
hit some of these. All right.
On the first Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
Total recap.
Total
recap. Total recap. I thought the Baba Booey would play each time.
Yeah, I thought,
Well,
Baba Booey,
it's
Baba
too
Booey.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Hello, this is the video game nerd.
oh, this
We
is
watch
the irate
we
gamer.
watch them. We watch the movies so you don't have to. And this week we're doing the movie the movie double of the century, Barbenheimer.
Today is Barbenheimer. Tomorrow is Saw Patrol.
Saw Patrol? Or the Better Call Saul
And
Paw Patrol?
and also the Exorcist 2, or the new Exorcist movie, which might be something.
Snore. This shit makes me want to snore.
Like
Yeah.
the Exorcist.
So
She cast the sleeping hex on me.
they bring back the lady who is the mom of the child who was got possessed. So there's that.
She probably isn't able to work the remote, let alone
Yeah.
Oh,
She yeah, she probably
Sorry.
they probably said we'll pay you $1 million to be in this movie. And you just have
Probably
to say
still thinks Netflix is delivered through mail.
yeah. You have to say 5 lines and we'll pay you $1 million. And she was like sold. So anyways, I think so we decided first to talk about Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan film, shot on 70 millimeter film, right? Supposed to see it in IMAX. And yeah, first question, who saw it in IMAX? I'm curious.
I saw it.
I didn't.
Whoa.
Pretty sad.
Ooh, you got the bad experience.
Yeah.
I had a fine experience though.
Yeah, I think it was
When the bomb
Not
and
bad.
I know nothing about letterboxing at all, so like I just kind of watched the movie, but yeah, like I'm curious too. It's like, is he like what's his name? The guy is like, you watch the movie. You can't watch movies on your phone. How do you not watch it in 70 millimeter?
Herzog?
Oh no,
no.
Oh, David Lynch.
David Lynch, yeah. I'm kind of
Get
curious if
real.
Christopher Nolan is like screaming at every movie theater that's not playing it in IMAX right now.
Yeah, and then there's some screenings I think in India where they're a CGI a dress over naked Florence Pugh. They do.
Yeah.
People
That's
are messing
awesome.
around with stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which was interesting. I thought it was like the least pornographic use of boobs in film history, but that's just me.
Oh yeah, I think it was completely. It's just supposed to show that they're like comfortable around each other.
No. So, initial thoughts of the film. What do we think?
I loved it.
Loved
I
it.
thought it was very good.
I simply loved it.
Why did you love it?
I just.
Greg first. Greg first. He gave a stronger review to it than you, Smiles. So I'm curious.
Did I give this review?
Well, I do have to rewatch it again because there was. I will say there was a point in the middle where I was kind of out of it. I was kind of like just not as focused into it.
Hmm.
But the once the Trinity test happened, I was right on board. And then Trinity test was obviously incredible. And then my second favorite scene was the speech in that like auditorium, which was unbelievable.
Hmm.
And then after that, I just think Robert Downey Jr. is also like that's when his performance really takes it up a notch.
Yeah.
And just all that got me back on board. But there was a point in the middle where it dipped. I was like just losing because I mean it's well paced and it's fast paced, but just inevitable the way it is. But yeah, I just the themes. There was like a lot of political like. Not exactly sure how Robert Downey Jr. fucked over Oppenheimer,
Hmm.
but I got the gist of everything. I think I got a little lost in like all the like political, all that stuff, but
It was so weird
I
seeing Robert Downey not be Iron Man and like be
Yeah.
a good actor.
Yeah.
it was like he's back, baby.
Yeah.
It
And
was good seeing him.
like it's kind of like, oh, like he is a good actor beyond Iron Man, right? Like he can do roles.
100%.
Yeah, like because now he's the bad guy. But uh,
Yeah,
yeah. And I think like
he had a much
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
just had a much meatier role than I thought too.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
Yeah. I think like a quick recap. I don't know the history and I didn't look it up after the movie, but my understanding was the fact that because Oppenheimer was on the Atomic Energy Commission and they were discussing whether or not to pursue arms control measures or the hydrogen bomb in response to the Soviets getting a nuclear weapon. And because Oppenheimer was pushing for the arms control, um, the Robert Downey Jr. character Strauss, uh, basically made a motion to remove his security clearance, basically barring Oppenheimer from working in the government, working in national security and nuclear weapons for the rest of his life. And he eventually succeeded
Oh,
in
man.
doing that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So he was the main guy, basically, because that was something I really loved was just immediately after he finishes the bomb, gives them what they want. They're just pretty much right away, like, okay, bye, see you. Yeah, I guess we'll call you.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe. We'll try. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, like we have a lot of
Try.
work. We have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we'll try and keep you in the loop, but like we can't guarantee it.
Yeah.
And so he played. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I think the other thing too is that this movie shows, again, I don't know the history, but that
Whoa.
Oppenheimer was like not, he was like gung ho on being head of the project and then didn't really think about the consequences of it. And he also didn't think about the ramifications of letting so many people on board the projects. So like it just he kind of had pitfalls along the way, more so of hubris, right, than anything else. But
Then I also thought it was interesting how wishy-washy he was. Like he never really takes a hard stance on anything.
yeah,
Well, politically
right,
for
right,
sure. Like especially when shit hits the fan, he's kind of like you can kind of tell where he's leaning, but he never. I read somewhere that he never ever just said he regretted the bombing. Like he never
Well-
said anything like that.
I bet he didn't regret the bomb, but I don't think he wishes it was used to melt Japanese people.
Exactly, but you could never. It's just like
He had a duty to his government to not speak those opinions, I would imagine.
yeah, true. Even like with the but they I feel like they foreshadow that in the beginning with like the communism and the unions.
Hmm.
He's never exactly like
Yeah,
easily abandons that stuff, which that whole running theme I thought was really interesting.
yeah, like he,
Plays throughout the whole movie.
yeah, like he can never really eat because I think that's like his first. Were they married or not? Like Florence Pugh's character.
No, I don't think they were married.
But like, you know, he can never really detach himself from like a toxic past, right? Like he's just kind of
Mm.
stuck there or kind of has to
Yeah.
latch onto it for various reasons. Um, so
Emily
yeah.
Blunt fucking rocked. She was great in
Yeah,
this.
yeah, very good.
Woo. She was. I would not cross her. It was scary. I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
She was because at first it was like, oh, the typical drinking wife holding the crying baby. But what happens with her near the end, I'm like, okay, hell yeah, she's really like, I get her completely.
yeah. You know, like I think a lot of it too is under, I don't know, she's educated and then kind of like,
Forced into that position
yeah,
of
like
being a wife.
yeah, being a wife
She
and a
hates the
mother.
kid. She just seems like she hates the kid. She calls him like a brat
Yeah.
when he's barely speak. And I'm like, it is like I wish you could like when they give the kids over. I just thought it's like, oh, she really does not give a shit about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wish you could keep him. Oh shit.
Yeah, that also made me
Damn.
like, oh.
That like took me by surprise. I was like, wow.
This Oppenwife lady is
My
she's
favorite line was the Kyoto
Oppenwife?
line about how
Weifenheimer.
like, oh, we can't do Kyoto, honeymoon there.
Yeah, yeah, and I
That's
do
my
know
favorite
I
scene.
do know that part is like that was legitimately struck from the record for that reason. Which is like
Yeah.
it, you know, like in the context of like cities we destroy is kind of absurd that you would say that about one city and then not the rest. Like, you know, it's just like it's this weird, I don't know, just cognitive dissonance. So yeah, but that did actually happen.
But,
Yeah.
and what was I gonna say? Oh, so what? Do you know anything like? And they later they're like, I mean, they're like kind of say like, we were already gonna beat the Japanese. We don't really have to
Yeah.
do that. I think it's been long. I feel like history classes. It's long been shoved down our throats that we had no choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is one of the
But
most like difficult decisions in American history, and for Harry Truman, which I will vouch behind when he said like get don't like I'm the one who dropped the bomb. No one gives a shit about you. Like I do agree with him on that. Like
that scene was wild.
I think they played him off a little bit more stupid than he was, but Truman basically was right, I think. But
Did you clap when he called Oppenheimer a crybaby?
I did. I stood up in the
It was,
theater and I was
that
like,
was just when
"Let's
Gary Oldman
go!"
shows up out of nowhere. I had no idea he was in that movie.
But
Get this goddamn crybaby out of my office.
That was wild.
but
That was so good.
I think that personally, I think that the dropping the atomic bomb was abhorrent, and we would have been able to starve the Japanese out. But at the same time, either we were losing like, you know, hundreds of like sailors and men a day in the Pacific just by like the Japanese doing kamikaze attacks, like, you know, torpedoes onto American ships, while we were just kind of sitting outside of Japan. And further, the counts that like, uh, you know, I don't remember exactly, but it might have been like 600,000 to a million American soldiers would have died and more Japanese would have died. Like those numbers were pretty like accurate. So like there is a utilitarian kind of argument to be made
Yeah.
about using the nuclear or the atomic bomb. Um, so I think it's always going to be one of those discussions where it's like it's going to be an abhorrent weapon that's completely it doesn't what do they call it? It's just it doesn't care whether you're a civilian or a soldier, right? It kills you indiscriminately. But did Truman have another choice, right? Would would we have been able to sit and have a invasion cost so many lives? Because the Japanese government was definitely going to fight, um, the military government, I should say, fight regardless of that, of that idea of they're going to lose. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Tricky. And I think it's also interesting with the Barbie Oppenheimer, with how Ben Shapiro and all those conservative guys are getting so upset over Barbie
Yeah.
when they're ignoring the fact that Oppenheimer's way more critical of their whole beliefs than like, but they're too fucking brain dead to realize that.
That's funny.
That's a very fair point. I didn't
I
think
think
about
it's
it
just
that way.
I think I've been seeing that pointed out a lot, and it's so interesting. Like, yeah.
Whenever we do talk about Barbie, I was going to ask if anyone knew what sort of the, media response has been to anything in Barbie. So I want to talk about that later
Oh yeah.
because I don't know.
Very funny. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it
Ben
is.
Shapiro's made like 3-hour videos about it.
Oh God.
It's like made a
He
video.
went to the movie with the fucking notepad. Lamest shit
The
you could
title of that
ever.
video is so stupid. Ben Shapiro totally destroys Bobby for 43 minutes.
Oh my god, man.
Yeah. So, are there any other kind of like thoughts, maybe like more movie, like cinematic thoughts about Oppenheimer? Do you think it will win any
Uh,
awards or?
Oh, I definitely think he'll be nominated for so much.
Wait, I do have to.
Personally, Downey Jr. for the supporting actor so far. I
Yeah.
think that's what I want to happen right now.
Did you guys think that the Albert Einstein scenes were humorous?
I did, but like it didn't take away from it. I just was
Yeah.
enjoying it.
The last one did, where he like just shows up on Oppenheimer's like property behind that corridor.
Yeah, that
So off.
it was a little like they're going to forget about you. I was like, okay. Yeah,
Well,
when you
you
bring
I-
it up,
What, Americans?
it didn't take away at the moment, but when you bring it up, it is a little weird that it was like serendipitous that Albert Einstein showed up at
Is
that
just
exact
on
moment.
Albert Einstein's property.
I also
guess
love when
I guess he did live on that college.
he's in the woods and he's with his one friend who like loves trees. Is that someone? Is that someone of note? 'Cause he's
Oh.
just like the trees have many stories, and then he's talking to Oppenheimer, and then it cuts to the guy, and he's just kind of like he's just looking at the trees. I was curious about that guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I don't know for sure.
I'm
but-
sure he has a whole history. I'm sure that those tree lines were very important. I thought he was funny. I thought there were some chuckles. There were some little knee slappers in there. The movie that I think the Kyoto line was like funny, like wow, like in the way it's just like whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
But the music was also fucking awesome. Sound design, incredible.
I did have the same thing with like Dunkirk. Like I don't know if you watched that movie in the theaters, but there were some points where
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, my ears. Like I had to put my earplugs in at some point. Like it's
I
just-
think they put Dunkirk volume too loud in my theater. I was like freaking out.
I think that was
didn't
on
love
purpose.
Dunkirk. Dunkirk, I was kind of iffy on. I'd have to give it another
Yeah.
watch, but I remember being like kind of whatever on that one.
Yeah.
I remember very little about Dunkirk.
I
Yeah.
love Dunkirk. I love that. I think it was something different in the way of storytelling. It was just so freaking loud.
Yeah.
My sister was like, when she put her Letterboxd review on, she was like, "This is like the ultimate, like, I don't know, just like creating like an atmospheric movie." And to be honest, I think Dunkirk was more atmospheric than this because this is much more like I don't know, like dialogue driven, and Dunkirk's just like war movie, like utter despair.
Also, yeah.
But
Also,
yeah,
Tenet, I think, should be mentioned as well.
yeah, I
Man,
didn't watch that one. So
I really dug Tenant.
Me too. I love Tenet,
I thought the
but I
story
get
was
I
really
get
dumb.
people's complaints.
I
Yeah.
Tenet felt because I just watched it. I want to say a month or two ago for the first time, and that's a movie I wish I would have seen in the theaters because I didn't really give myself I didn't really give it the full focus and just kind of uh, I allowed myself to kind of get lost once they started to explain all the like the pincer movements or whatever they were called, and I was just like, oh, whatever. So I was just like, I guess I'm just not going to understand it. But I really thought the sound was really neat in Tenet. But sorry, this is not a review of Tenet.
no, I think it's fair to talk about it
Should be
because
talked about. Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
I think just the sound design alone from Inception all the way to like
Yeah.
now is like very, very
Mm.
similar, you
Mm.
know. So that's kind of why I brought up Dunkirk, was just because I was thinking about that movie and watching it in a movie theater and what I felt. So, but
This in Tenet is not Hans Zimmer. I think some people have said it is, but it is not. It's
okay.
Ludwig Göransson, I think is his name. He also did like the Mandalorian score.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Was he the guy that worked with
Yeah.
Childish Gambino?
I have no clue.
I think he. Wait, I'm sorry. Ludwig Göransson.
But Tenet, I thought was an incredible fucking score, and then this
Yeah.
was also just incredible.
Yeah.
We also did Black Panther.
Oh, Ludwig Göransson. Yeah, he was behind Redbone.
Okay.
Childish Gambino.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
there's
very
a
interesting.
cool Genius video of him talking about how it was made.
Oh shit!
Totally
really
forgot about him.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
So this guy is something else.
Put it-
Damn, I did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Hans, you're out.
Bye bye.
Sorry, Hans. Hans Zimmer. He did. I think his name was in
He's
the
done so much.
the Last Mermaid movie, or the Last Mermaid, the Little
The
Mermaid movie.
the Little
Am I making
Mermaid and
that
the
up?
Last of the
You know-
Mohicans crossover.
There's like the theory with Hans Zimmer that he kind of just makes one theme, and then he has a bunch of underlings do the rest of the work for him, which is why he's so
I mean,
spread out.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. to
I
be
think
honest.
I do believe that because he just does way too much.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or he could be like
a
a
bummer.
savant like James Patterson and just I actually don't know if James Patterson writes all his own books, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it just
yeah,
there are some people.
Huh.
I think Stephen King's more of a savant in that sense, where it's like he just writes so much. So like
Yeah.
Stephen King,
I never heard that about James Patterson. But yeah,
Oh my
Stephen King
God.
just fucking writes and writes and writes
James-
and writes and writes.
James Patterson has so many books. It's ridiculous. And
yeah.
most of them
crazy.
are probably not good. Like
Here's
90%
the thing with
of
Hans Zimmer though. Like
I think
some of
James
them are
Patterson
still really
got one.
good, at least. Even if
Yeah.
it is underlings, it's like
yeah.
shit's still good, so it doesn't really matter. Like
Mm.
Interstellar is
Oh yeah.
best Nolan score, probably. I think
Yeah.
it's almost what
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get
widely
Emma to
agreed
watch
upon.
Interstellar.
I think I might watch it tonight.
That's
to
one
be
I've never
honest.
seen actually.
Ooh.
So
I've only seen it like once or twice.
I loved it in high school, and I have not seen it since I've been in college. So I have no real comment as to how it holds up. But if
Yeah.
you asked me when I was in high school, I would have said this was my favorite movie, hands down.
Wow.
It
favorite movie
moved
ever.
me like deeply as a kid. I thought this
For
was
some
like
reason, it didn't
best movie
really jive with me for some reason. I don't know why.
Mm.
I feel like if I watch it now, I think I'm gonna love it.
it's probably I don't know.
Let me know how that goes.
I haven't seen
will.
it, but like if I was to take a stab in the dark, isn't it dealing with like some like advanced like like space theory concepts that maybe need
It's
a
really
little
not that advanced. It's more like it's really not that like intense and sci-fi. They consulted with a number of physicists because they Nolan wanted to make it like really realistic. Like he wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that the science was sound, but he also like played with science to communicate like the themes of the movie. So it's not like super hardcore science, but there's some really cool like foundational stuff that plays into it that's like intense and crazy.
Yeah.
Like time is a big thing that gets distorted in the movie.
Yeah, I've heard about
Yeah.
those scenes. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, do we want to move on to Barbie?
Do you guys want to assign Oppenheimer a rating?
Oh, a rating.
I
Okay,
feel like
yeah.
that's standard.
5 out of 5 or 10.
If I had to give Oppenheimer a rating, I'd give him one big A bomb. You know what I'm saying, fellas?
I give him 2 big A bombs. You know what I'm saying?
2 A bombs and
And a
America
bag of
flag.
popcorn. A bag of popcorn.
And a bag of popcorn.
No, that like we're gonna do it like on cinema at the cinema ratings. I'm gonna give it
Okay.
3 popsicles and 2 bags of popcorn. All right, that's.
And I'm gonna give it a watch hopefully this week.
Yeah, Letterboxd I did a 4.5.
Yeah.
I think I did a 4 and a like,
Yeah.
which is I consider that a technical 4.5.
Yeah.
I consider that a technical foul.
Let's not go down that road.
I probably would give it a 3.5 out of 5, just because I don't think it's a perfect movie. It's a little long, but enjoyable nonetheless. I appreciate
think
the
if I-
history, so.
Just very rich. There's a lot to take
Yeah.
out from it. There's a lot to talk about. There's just so
Excited.
much going on. So many great performances, and on the technical side, there's nothing wrong technically for
Yeah.
me.
It is a perfectly fine movie.
Yes.
And yeah, the Trinity test, one of the best things I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
In a while.
And they have Jack Quaid in the movie, so he's
And
in it.
Mongos.
Okay, wait, can I quickly talk about that? There are so many like people in this movie that are like really good actors who are just like sitting in the background.
Yeah, the cast is ridiculously
Like,
stacked. I
yeah,
was blown away.
like Florence Pugh is in this movie for a whole 10 minutes, like,
Man.
and she's on the billboard. Like, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just it's
Well,
kind of
she
crazy.
does. But she's very important in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. But then I would say that, and then there's like all the scientists, like, actual like actors. They do other stuff very good.
Oh,
They're just,
cool.
like,
Jack Quaid plays Richard Feynman, and he's just in the background.
I mean, like he has like
He's got
a
a
few.
couple lines. Josh
got a
Peck's in it.
Yeah,
Josh Peck's in it.
Yeah,
Whoa!
but all these characters have like a couple lines, and then they're just like in the background for the rest of
Gotcha.
it. So, and Jack
Yeah,
Quaid
I mean,
plays the bongos.
Compared to how, again, I haven't seen it, but like compared to how crazy like the Manhattan Project must have been, like it's obviously such a complicated story that involves like all the different characters. But the movie's called Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
Probably got to
yeah,
focus on
exactly,
Oppenheimer.
yeah, so.
Oh, apparently, my grandpa told me this. Apparently, we had scientists that lived there on the Manhattan Project.
Ooh,
That's kind of neat.
that's pretty based.
Yeah.
Apparently, what?
So,
We
so
have
your
people-
grandparents were involved in bombing Japanese people. Is what you're trying to tell us.
Well, they were involved with developing a bomb. They didn't choose. They didn't choose.
They didn't
to
pull the
drop-
trigger. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they just made the
Okay.
trigger.
Thanks for
All right.
sharing.
Yep. Thanks.
You want to set it that out? We will. Not.
All right.
All right, Bobby.
Barbie time.
Baby.
I think when I was watching the movie and I was thinking we should do a total recap of this, I thought, oh great, just what the world needed. A bunch of straight white dudes talking about Barbie.
Actually,
Yeah, I know. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Men talking about the Barbie movie. That's the most important part, right? So, yeah.
Gosh, there is little I had to complain about with this movie.
Got that right.
I don't think it was possible to tell the sort of like one of the big takeaways that I had towards the end of it, and I texted Greg said it somewhere, where I wasn't expecting it to be kind of like a bit surreal in that sense and didn't take itself seriously. Like I knew it would be like a comedy movie, but like I didn't expect it to just be sort of laissez-faire, like with the world and whatnot. Like he compared it to Wet Hot American Summer, and I keep thinking back
That's
to
what it
it in that
reminded me of
lens.
the most.
Yeah, I didn't think about it till you said something, and yeah, I think back, and that is That is definitely how I would describe it. It was wonderful in that sense.
Those are my favorite comedies. That's the stuff I crave
Yeah.
for, and it's
Mm.
just they're not around that much.
No, and when
this
they're
was
done
just
well,
such a
it's
treat.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Like there's the part in the movie where they break. Well, I think they break the fourth wall a couple of times, but like
Mm.
with Helen Mirren, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Barbie says, "I'm. What if I'm not pretty?" And then Helen Mirren's
right.
like, "Note to the filmmakers: don't cast Margot Robbie in this role. It
I
doesn't.
love that shit.
It doesn't fit."
It is
But
wonderful.
but
And like
yeah,
it doesn't take itself seriously, but like it's still able to deliver
yeah,
like such a cool thing at the
Yes.
end. Like
yeah. It
yeah,
Yes.
I
it
mean,
definitely had an impact.
gosh.
You know. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
just
did anyone here cry? Did anyone tear up at the end?
I cried.
I don't-
At
So
the
did
end,
Laura.
in like the very end scene.
Yeah, Laura
Once I
cried.
heard Phoebe Bridgers playing, I was like, "Oh, brother!"
Our
I
see
didn't
it was
cry, but
Billie
it
girl.
was
Eilish.
certainly
I
emotional.
thought
Our
it was
girl.
Phoebe Bridgers, but I think it's Billie Eilish.
Yeah. It was,
No way!
Yeah, it
Are
was
you
a Billie
Yeah, I
Eilish.
serious?
I
thought
don't
it
think
was
Phoebe's on
Phoebe,
that.
and then I saw some like
I know Billy's in the sound.
Yeah, I think it was
Wait,
yeah,
Billie.
I thought it was
That
Phoebe
end song
when I
isn't
was
Phoebe
watching
Bridgers.
it, but then I
It's
found out
Billie
I think
Eilish.
it's Billie.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I didn't realize they sound so alike.
Yeah, Emma and I both thought it was Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
I didn't-
Soundtrack though, I think that
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my sisters have been listening to that like all week. I mean,
Yeah. I listened to it the night we came home. I was so excited it was on Spotify.
yeah.
I
I
had
think
no idea the Push song was real. I thought it was made for the movie.
And I will push you around.
The lyrics
and
are
I
so
will-
ridiculous.
Oh, you never heard that
you never
song,
heard?
Greg?
Yeah, seriously?
And when I heard it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did know it, but hearing it in the movie, I
wanna push you
thought it was from the
around.
movie, and
Well,
I think that was one of the peak surreal moments. Was all of them standing.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Around the
That blew my
fire.
mind.
Yeah.
I love all the Kens so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I mean, Simu Liu, but
wait, you don't
Hey.
like Wait, why don't you like him?
eh,
Whoa.
You don't like
vibes.
who?
Simu
Yeah,
Liu,
bad blood.
Simu Liu.
Oh, okay.
the bad Ken.
Yeah.
I think they're good, but I mean, it's a small. I wouldn't even call it a problem.
But
He did his
But-
role, being a pretty man.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, he
I
wasn't
mean,
like I mean, it wasn't standout or anything. I thought
no.
the way you were talking, like
take-
he was what was I gonna say? Like he was problematic.
No, he's he's kind of annoying in real life.
there's
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just has like the I don't want to. Let's focus. Well, I
Okay,
guess
all
we
right.
have
let's
to
think
talk
about the
it now.
movie. Yeah. No. But yeah, it's the movie opening with Lizzo, that Lizzo track. I mean, phenomenal.
Right?
I
And
mean,
then coming back around to like the depressed version.
yeah, coming back around, and then it just like Lizzo and then Dua Lipa back to back, and how those two songs like fit seamlessly with the movie, or they work them
Mm.
together. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah, just blew me away.
I really appreciated hearing Charlie XCX. I hadn't heard her in a while, and then
Yeah.
it popped all out in that. It was just like really, it fit super well in that
Yeah.
whole chase scene.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think I heard Speed Drive before the movie came out, and I was kind of,
Ah.
I was like, ooh, like it wasn't, there wasn't like enough like lyric to the song. It wasn't as fully formed, but in the context of the movie, it worked. And it's good. I think it's on the top 100 chart right now. So it's her third song
Yeah.
Nice.
there. But yeah.
Love the credits song. That shit was making me shake my ass.
Mm.
Greg, big Ice Spice fan, right?
Yeah, that shit was awesome. Musical was. I mean, the whole Ken. I mean, that was. I mean, obviously Ryan Gosling was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
am surprised by how much I loved Ryan Gosling in this movie.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
Yeah.
He was
Like-
everything I could have hoped for.
Like, just. Jeez, I mean,
The-
just.
The man just
horrible.
delivers.
Yeah.
He is a performer. You're so
Yeah.
right.
Like, just the fucking. Just the way, like, can I come to your house tonight? And he's crossing his fingers. Like, it's just. The delivery is so good. And the fact that he was the villain, I was
Mm.
like,
hell, because I thought Will Ferrell, CEO, would be the
Right.
villain.
Absolutely.
I thought most of the movie would be them in the real world,
Mm,
and that was the part I was a little concerned about. I was like, I feel like Barbie's adjusting the real world would get really old.
dude, absolutely. That's what I thought the movie was going to be. I did like. I was still going into it, still hopeful or whatever. But
Yeah.
the trailers really don't give anything away. Like I know I've said before that I try to make a habit of not seeing the trailers and going in with no expectations. But like you couldn't escape all the Barbie trailers, and it didn't give away like where the movie was headed. Really, like
Which is
it still
incredible because
caught
it's
you
been
completely
marketed
off guard.
so much.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I got so fucking excited when they go back to Barbie Land,
Mhm.
and it's just like, because then I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen in this movie now, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was just like, I mean, them roller skating like back into like all the business guys getting into Barbie Land,
Yeah.
that was so fun, and then all the Barbies like fixing the brainwashing, like that
Mm.
whole montage with like the Godfather stuff, and like, oh my god, that was just so much fun. Like that was incredible. Zack
During
Snyder line took me by surprise. That was wild.
Oh yeah, what was that? What was
Like
that?
wow. At first, I was like taken out of it because I was like, Smiles had to explain it to me because I just heard Zack Snyder Justice
think
League and I was like, what the fuck?
because they talk about the Zack Snyder thing when like they're doing the brainwash of the Barbies. So one of the Barbies like tells Ken, "Can we watch the Zack Snyder cut without?" And you just don't stop talking the whole time.
Oh.
I think that was The Godfather. I think the Zack Snyder line was like they're overly obsessed with the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League or something like that. Like,
Yeah, I
Just like
can't
such a
quite
specific
remember.
thing. It was like,
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
I was
little
like, wow,
it was a little
okay,
trash
damn.
of Zack Snyder. Or I shouldn't say Zack Snyder. It was more of a trash of uh
Comic
men's
book.
obsession with kind of
Mm.
like this like cut of a
Yeah.
superhero movie, right?
And,
Which
Mm.
has a
yeah.
story, but it's kind of like yeah, yeah,
and then just yeah, the whole message. I think it's really everything was really well done.
yeah.
And the premise, they just did every single thing you could possibly think of with the premise. Like, just took they just took so much. Like, I didn't leave thinking like, oh, I wish they did that, or oh,
Mm.
they just
Yeah.
did everything. It was so great.
Yeah, I think the my favorite part of the movie and like is when Barbie, stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie is sitting in the park and like she's having
Here,
that first feeling of when she's feeling a range of emotions or seeing a range of
Mm.
emotions in the world,
Yeah.
you know, that made me feel a lot heavier than the end of the movie. And I will say,
Mm.
like, at full context, like I'm not a woman, so like like the end of the end of the movie for me is like not as impactful, but that moment where she just like surveyed so many different parts of the world and then was like,
Mm.
then saw the old lady and was like, "You're really pretty." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That was cute.
That
Yeah,
was
I
really
love that.
Loved it. Loved it.
apparently that was the costume designer, that cute old lady.
Aw, that's cool.
And I also heard the montage with all the like moms and daughters was sent in from like the crew.
Oh,
Oh,
very
wonderful.
very
How
cool.
cool.
That
So cool.
that made me so tearful.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that
I
was
just
incredible.
There's
oof.
something that always gets me about just experiencing humanity.
Old footage.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Barbie
yeah.
creator, she was great. Rhea Perlman.
That was cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
loved
Miles.
it.
There's something that really catches me off guard with, like, cause I don't need to know if it's like genuine or not, but if people are able to like recreate like just like candid happiness or like just joyful memories, if they're able to like just portray that with like the right like airy music. Like I haven't seen Minari yet, but that's just sort of what I gather is like the vibe from there. That always touches me.
Yeah,
Wanna
it's
know-
definitely not happy. There's barely any happiness.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
no.
about to say like Minari's like.
Yeah, don't go
That
in.
was-
Uh,
that was the opposite of what I thought it was
we're gonna
about.
have to we're gonna have to have a
Don't go in
conversation.
expecting genuine joy.
Oh no.
No. Oh man, I'm glad
Yeah.
you said this.
Woo.
No. You know how I am with expectations.
Yeah, your week would be ruined.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Steve, have
That is a
you
very
Steve's
sad
like,
mood.
I'm gonna have a good afternoon watching
Aw.
Minari.
I was gonna watch it when I was in a good mood.
Oh
That's funny.
no, dude!
No,
There's
no, no.
so much sadness.
Okay,
That
good.
movie.
You know,
That's really funny.
Steve, have you ever seen the Discovery Channel video of the spaceman singing Boom Diata?
no, I don't know. No.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Either of you?
I
I'm gonna look like a real
like
goober
like
now.
the yeah, I think I know like the commercial and it would like cut away to all these different things. Right?
That always makes me cry of like humanity.
Yeah.
I'll show that after later.
Okay.
But yeah.
One of my favorite scenes was, and it's not on the movie, but the theater we went to was full of little girls, and it cut to the scene of the Kens fighting, like, but like they kissed each other on the cheeks, and all the girls went, "Eek."
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that musical sequence was great, and and the sets being practical at the painted backgrounds. God, it was so
Yeah.
pretty.
So that was practical. That's
Apparently,
Yeah,
the
everything
transition,
was.
through Barbie, from Barbie world
Yeah.
to the real world is all practical.
Wow.
that's
cool.
That's really cool.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
I loved it. I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah. I do have one tidbit, because I watched the show. It's a Netflix show called Sex Education, which is
Oh,
like
yeah.
a drama. So there were 3 characters from Sex Education in this movie. One of them was the Ken,
Oh.
was Nukta Gatwi. He's going to be the next. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, but he's going to be the next Doctor. And then there's the gal who was the British. She had an accent like British Barbie. She had like dark auburn hair. She was in
The
it.
scientist one.
Yes. And like people thought like she looked like Margot Robbie, so I'm wondering if that's why she's in the movie.
Yeah, I heard they cast her because of that, but then they realized, oh, they don't look that much alike.
Yeah. But
Really.
those are the 2 that get that, like the Ken and the Barbie that get together in the end. And then the third is the the guy who gets initially called by the FBI. Like at Mattel, he's also in Sex Education, and so it's kind of funny to
Whoa.
see all these characters. I'm like, there has to be
Yeah.
some casting,
Yeah.
like manager that straddled both of these shows or something, because there were so many. But we didn't have Asa Butterfield, and that's kind of a shame,
I didn't recognize. So how do you pronounce his name? Nuti?
No, I think it's like Nuti Gatwa, something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him in Barbie because it's been a couple years since I've seen Sex Education.
Yeah, but he was in it, being a
Oh,
Ken,
cool.
doing his thing, being a man.
Being a man.
Being a man. So, but it was cool to see them this show I've watched for 4 years now. But yeah. Yeah, so anything else, should we give it a rating? Are there any other points to make?
I mean, we could talk about the politics.
The politics? Yeah, why don't we talk about
Whoa.
the politics?
It's pronounced Shuti Gatwa.
Shuti
That's how it's
Gatwa.
pronounced.
Okay.
Shuti
Sorry,
Gatwa.
apologies. I've only
Sorry,
read the
Shuti.
name.
I wouldn't even really call it politics.
It's just men being mad.
Yeah, basically politics. In the
That is-
sense
I would not say
so
this has a
fucking true,
political
Greg.
message at all.
That is so fucking true.
that politics that in the sense that
Like a
Ben Shapiro
moral
talked
message.
about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I just,
Um,
like I don't know
I
what
thought-
Ben, I don't know what Ben was thinking. What he was hoping. what he was hoping was going to come out of this Barbie movie.
Seriously.
It's just like clickbaity, like they
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
Or
I was gonna say
no, and they're just morons. They are morons.
I was gonna say freaking no nerd. Freaking
This was Hawkfed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So their representation of patriarchy, like as the Kens, I thought was like it could have been a lot more like on the nose and like silly, or I would say like eye rolly, in terms of like what makes it, like a stereotypical like man. But it really wasn't, super cringy or anything. Like they went with
it
like
was
a
really
much,
funny.
yeah, like it was really funny to use like horses and like cowboys. I thought that was really good.
Frill
And
my
jackets,
it
samurai
made it a
swords.
little bit more timeless because I thought they could go down a route of like a sort of Andrew Tate, like using specific words like that and
Yeah.
making
Yeah,
grotesque,
if
but
they got too specific, it would have been bad.
it was like a 6-year-old's idea of like what being
What
a
a man
man was
is.
all about. Yeah,
Exactly, it was perfect.
that was really good.
Let's man up on this one. Like,
Yeah.
and he's imitating like the CEO shooing away the secretary. That was so funny. Yeah, and
That
then
scene where
oh,
Barbie pretends to ask Ken on a date, and he just closes the door and goes, "Some blood!"
yeah, that was
good.
so funny.
That was good.
And then and people saying like, "Oh, I wish it was just a Barbie movie," and they just
What do you mean? Like,
There's like
Like,
500
what do you
Barbie
want
movies,
it the
and
movie to be about? What
yeah.
do you want
And,
it
like,
to be
I think
about?
it had to tackle these things. It would be ridiculous if it didn't.
there's
And
like
I thought
500
it just did it in such a perfect way. Like I thought it was
man.
executed flawlessly. It didn't get too it was just the perfect. Yeah, you're right. It didn't get too specific about certain like
Yes.
people or
Yeah.
anything. Like it was done in a very timeless way. Like timeless is the best way or
yeah.
best word for it.
And
I think it was timeless, and also the soundtrack was like, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Ice Spice fan. I think that's the one thing that I think could stink over time. I'll be honest.
In the credits though, at least.
Yeah, but that's like even the soundtrack, like it just sounds like it's it's a lot of decent artists from like the past 5 or so years that have sort of made prominence, but yeah, it really wasn't super cash grabby in terms of a soundtrack.
Yeah.
They put genuine good work into all those songs,
Yeah.
is what it felt like. I thought I was going to be a
I
lot more
love-
cynical because I'm a bit cynical about the Dua Lipa song.
Oh.
Or at first, just because that is like pretty much the only song I heard from all the trailers, and you hear it on the radio like 24/7, and it's just like, man, But it was fine as in and of itself. That's like my only cynical like cash grabby sort of takeaway was the
I love
Dua
the
Lipa.
disco dancing though. I thought all the choreography was
Yeah,
great.
that was so fun.
I've been like to my sisters. I'm like, we have to learn this dance. It's like this is not optional.
That'd be fun for like a family reunion.
Hell yeah.
But I think the thing with the patriarchy stuff is that if you are upset about it,
Yeah.
the movie was made for you then, right? Like maybe you should imbibe the message a bit more. Just because
It's like a good message for men too. It's
Yeah.
not like
I think that's
it's not like it's putting
fragility.
down the whole gender. It's so silly.
Yeah, I think if you're
find
upset
out
about
what
it,
you-
you're fragile.
And I also think it's a super valid take to say that, like, if someone came away and thought that like the Ken parts were like the better half
Cool.
part of the movie, like there are people who probably came away thinking that, and they're not like. I think that's like a perfectly fine thing to say. I think they're missing a lot of like the Barbie bits, but like the Ken stole the show every single time they were on the screen.
Yeah.
Like they did their scenes were
Yeah,
like
Gosling
good
just had the
too.
meatiest role, and he's
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was like in his interviews like just about this movie just going crazy into this
really?
Ken character. Like which to me was just hilarious just watching all these videos just like you have Kenergy. You have it. We all have Kenergy. Like it's just like all right, thank you. So,
yeah, and it's just like, oh man, he's the only one who could. Like, anyone else, I just don't think would have been near like Chris Hemsworth, Ryan Reynolds.
No.
Like there would have been
Oh,
too much of a smugness.
Yeah, okay. So let's picture this movie was made 10 years ago. I think it easily could have, let's say like 2015 era. It would have been Ryan Reynolds as Ken, who would have been Barbie. If Ryan Reynolds was your Ken.
Maybe
There
like
was the
Anna
rumored Amy
Kendrick's or
Schumer version.
something. Like,
Anna Kendrick is a decent dancer.
like it's
She's just not a blonde.
she's
Yeah,
she's not
Margot Robbie
blonde.
was still kind of around.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she was in Wolf of Wall Street, but I mean, she's just gotten better and
Not as
better as
big
time
a
has gone
star.
on.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know.
2015 actress.
Scarlett Johansson, maybe? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Scarlett
Yeah,
Johansson.
something like
But-
that.
Then, like,
But even then, yeah,
I
it's
just don't really
just
see it.
kind of
I
Jennifer
just
Lawrence.
think,
yeah, Jennifer Lawrence maybe.
maybe catch
But yeah, it just I don't know. It wouldn't. I don't know.
Jennifer Aniston. I don't know.
Jennifer Aniston. She could be Barbie now if she wanted to. It's not like it's not really saying much. But yeah,
Lisa Kudrow. Yeah, but I think right time, right, like all the stars aligned for this movie to be
Yeah.
great and well casted.
yeah,
I
you have
did see
Michael
someone.
Cera.
Oh yeah, Alan. Oh yes.
I love
Oh gosh, when he was doing the fight, the whole like the wall joke was
It's hilarious.
so fucking good, and then he gets out and starts fighting them. Like that was like when I thought back to that scene, I was like, "That's Wet Hot American Summer."
Yes, absolutely. Just that she was
So
in
good.
that, you know.
So good.
So I saw somewhere saying that Patty Harrison should have been one of the Barbies, and that would have been incredible.
I don't know who that is.
She's in. She's the and popcorn girl from I Think You Should Leave.
it. Ooh,
Oh,
this is embarrassing.
Sorry.
Damn, you would know it if you saw it.
Huh.
If you saw
If you had seen it already.
it. But
All right.
round of applause.
Yeah, round of applause for Barbie. What do we rate it?
Woo!
What are
Guys,
Another 4.5 on Letterboxd for me.
I think I give that a 4.5
yeah?
and a like.
I would give it
9
a
out of
4.5.
I
I didn't
technically
have
Possibly
like
my
that.
favorite of the year. It's neck and neck with Asteroid City right now.
Yeah.
I never got around to seeing that. For some
That's a
reason,
goodie.
it did not. The trailer did not impress me, which I think is weird because I feel like it should.
I would not go off it. I would just go see it on one of your
Just go.
afternoon elopements or whatever you do.
Elopements. Smiles elopes with himself. That's his vibe.
And that's between me and the floorboards.
So now do you want to talk briefly about the marketing gimmick and just kind of that? I'm curious to hear your
Yeah,
what
well,
you
this
heard.
is just such an interesting moment in just pop culture right now because it's like superhero movies are dying a horrible death right now, I think, and Barbie and Oppenheimer for a being a 3-hour biopic, it's already made more than Mission Impossible.
Whoa,
Just
I didn't know
crazy.
that.
Yeah, like it's just. Oh, and also I said this before we recorded. I heard somewhere that Christopher Nolan left Warner Brothers because of how they fucked with Tenet and the COVID release, and putting their movies on HBO while
Right.
having them in theaters. So to get back to be like petty with Christopher Nolan, because Warner Brothers is Barbie, so they released Barbie the same date as Oppenheimer to kind of like get at him, fuck with him, but it backfired in the most beautiful way.
Wow, that's funny.
Where it's so awesome that so yeah, releasing Barbie the same day helped it tremendously, which is so
Wow.
cool.
I bet.
I don't know if that's 100% certain, but it makes a lot of sense.
I
Interesting.
would be willing to bet that theaters will be planning this in the future.
And that's another thing, and I think it will not.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
can't. It's not gonna. It's gonna fall flat on its fucking face.
Yeah,
it really is.
because there was
It's gonna be
something
too obvious.
Yeah, there's something kind of natural about like it was spontaneous between
Yeah.
Oppenheimer and Barbie. Like it
And
was an internet-led thing
The
that
two
caught
opposing
on.
niches.
and they were trying to do that with Saw Patrol, with the Saw movie and Paw Patrol, but like that just come on. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like the 10th Saw movie and a movie made for toddlers.
They're gonna watch them together. Yeah.
Like it also the thing with the Barbenheimers, like they're both great movies.
Yeah.
And like Barbie was, it was a kids movie, but it was very much like adult.
Actually, it's PG-13.
And yeah,
Is it really?
Oppenheimer, and also like Oppenheimer 2 is not really that crazy of an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
So
Like,
like
the Saw Paw Patrol thing is way too.
yeah, it's like
they're
That's
way
crazy.
too
Gore
different.
House and then Paw Patrol.
And yeah. So, and that wasn't but now that I'm wondering if I'll try and the same studio will try and orchestrate something,
Mm.
but it's just not going to work. And yeah, and everyone's like, the lesson to be learned here is like female driven like blockbusters and be super successful, but instead Mattel's thinking, oh, okay, Barbie was a hit.
Barbie.
Everyone's gonna love. Everyone's gonna
Let's-
love Hot Wheels
The
now.
Uno
Finally-
movie. The Uno
Finally we
movie.
Oh my god, it's gonna
Finally,
be
we
so
can
crazy.
poke the coals on Major
Like,
Matt Mason.
Yeah, like it's
Oh my
it's just so funny how like
Oh.
it's just been like the fucking tale is like it's just constantly they'll never ever accept that like
Women
successful
can make good
movies
movies.
are what makes a movie successful is that they're good.
Hey, but for real though, Greg, I have high hopes for the Hot
Oh,
Wheels
everyone's
movie.
gonna love the Uno movie next
Yeah.
year.
Oh,
The
dude, those movies they're gonna fucking suck. They're already making a Lena Dunham Polly Pocket movie, and I'm sure that will be fucking crazy.
Oh.
But at least that's like that movie's gonna be insane. But I just can't see that being this Barbie was like a cultural moment,
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
yeah.
And there's no way any of these other movies will ever come close to that. There's just no way.
No
Like,
way.
maybe I could see maybe Polly Pocket will be successful because be like, what the fuck is this?
I do like Polly Pockets as a kid.
I'm curious just with Lena, like that could be something, but it also I think most people be like, this is just fucking dollar store Barbie. So I don't know.
Leah Dunham does Polly Pockets, and Jeff Dunham does the Magic 8 Ball movie.
all right.
All right, you got something there.
Yeah, and maybe Polly Pocket could be a hit just because of how weird it is. The other ones, there's no way that astronaut, that toy even
Yeah.
still exist.
Apparently, and Tom Hanks is involved some.
Well, yeah.
Fuck, dude.
I guess
like, what?
I'm sure that they had this in the pipeline once they got like the what is it, the focus
there's-
groups
there's-
back, but like still it just
Yeah.
Well, there's news articles attaching Tom Hanks to Major Matt Mason from like
I know Vin
2019.
Diesel is in the Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's
Oh,
just when
man.
reality parody is the Red Letter Media bit, you know that like something's
Yeah.
off in the time continuum
But-
because I don't know. Again, nobody's asking for these movies. So like why make them? Don't
Also,
run
should
off
be
this
said-
idea that like toys are going to be the next big like Marvel like thing. I guess it should be that easy, but it's not.
I think a very, very good chance most of these aren't actually made.
Yeah, they'll just get shelved, canned, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, especially with, it's weird. It's like it's such a huge theater moment, and the advertising with Barbie was crazy, and then
I
now with
mean-
the strikes,
Counterpoint.
really.
Trolls did very successful, and that was based off a children's toy.
True, but that was like animated. That was like
I think it
Oh,
was-
did Trolls the movie? I didn't know that had anything to do with the children's toys.
Yeah.
Oh,
They revamped the whole brand to make it less creepy.
It was-
yeah,
Maybe if
that's
you-
funny. I never knew
if
that.
some of these were animated, I could see it, but
Just thought it was about trolls.
Yeah, I mean,
they're trying to do a live action Hot Wheels. Come on.
like
That's just it. It would just be a decent racing movie.
Yeah.
Like, what more could I ask
At,
for?
at
see
that
I
point, why
can't see that
brand it
being
as Hot
successful.
Wheels? Just make another decent racing movie. Don't
Yeah,
bother with
it's
the
just
brand.
IP, man. It's so annoying.
Well, they're already making Gran Turismo. What? The brand's
I
already
don't
taken.
fucking know. Just make a racing movie that's its own thing. Like, just it's not something that is copyright. You could make like a, I don't know, just like
Hot Wheels is crucial to my.
Yeah.
God.
Or
My
they're making an Ocean's 11 prequel set in the 60s with Margot Robbie, which is like, why? What's the point
What?
of having that connection? That makes no sense.
That
Hey,
doesn't
if
make
there's
any
another
sense.
movie with George Clooney in it, that's all I care about. So
And it's gonna
Well,
star
he'll be
Ryan
a
Gosling.
baby.
Oh.
Is it?
Looks like it.
Wow. I mean, hey, that movie could be cool, but like, why? What?
Yeah.
is
Why
the
make it
not
point of
Ocean's
that
11?
connection? That is
Why
so
not just make a
stupid.
heist movie?
yeah, exactly. Why
Exactly.
not just make a heist movie that you could come up with its own name, its own
Or there
A
was
cool
another
60s
Margot
heist
Robbie
movie.
thing.
yeah.
I will
Margot
say,
Robbie was also going to be in a
uh,
Pirates of the Caribbean movie starring
Oh,
her.
shit. Oh my God.
So also at that
Mm.
point, just make a Pirates movie.
Just make up,
Why
yeah.
do you need it?
So I think what they said, like Red Letter Media kind of predicted after this was like there's gonna be these big budget movies that are all gonna flop, and then we're gonna get back to like the 70s where people are making like cheap movies that are really good, you know,
Fucking
like original IPs, no
oh
like
yeah.
especially after all this kind of actor strike stuff, which I'm
And the
hoping.
Marvel, yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
if it will
I hope
happen, but
I go back and forth on whether or not this is an exciting time or a very
dismal
uh,
time.
bad time.
Yeah.
It depends on
It's-
how I'm feeling that day. That's typically how I've been viewing the world lately as an older man.
I mean,
It's just like
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, this is an uneventful time. And I saw Barbie, I'm like, art is good now. Just depends.
I think
I'm so
too,
glad to be alive.
probably what's happening is that there's a bunch of movies that like we don't get to see because there's just so
It's
much
true.
freaking content. But in like
Mm.
5 or 6 years will surface as like, oh, this great movie that was made,
Mm.
back, inundated by content that the director like off themselves because nobody appreciated their art. But now they're really great. Like, it's so it'll be
Hmm.
something like that. That was intentionally dramatic, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I do.
I also heard something really interesting about how like back in the day they would spend a bunch of money on a bunch of movies and inevitably some would be flops and those would be like the smaller ones and it doesn't really matter and it would be more evenly distributed the money. Now it's like, oh, we're putting all our money, all our chips on the Indiana Jones movie, and if that's not successful, we are fucked.
We are
And
not.
it's like
There will be
it
no
worked. It worked
presents for
so well
Christmas.
back in the day with Force Awakens. It worked so well with
Oh my
stuff like that.
gosh.
But it's getting to the point where things are backfiring, and
Mm.
nostalgia is not working anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's really that's where I'm like, okay, I have hope. Like those movies aren't like we're just running out of shit to like. It's just so crazy how like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Michael Keaton, Batman, everyone is being brought back to just
Yeah.
insane.
I think
I
too.
will.
Also, they found out that the formula, at least for the Star Wars, where it's like we can have like Star Wars movies and that's fine, but we could
Mm.
just do like low budget, long form content on Disney Plus, and get the
People
same
will maybe be
effect.
less mad.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's good, some of it's bad, but they can just kind of they don't have to sink $500 million into The Force Awakens again to like make that same amount of profit, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's insane.
Speaking of Barbenheimer and Star Wars, in 2019 when Episode 9 dropped, you know what else dropped that very day?
But
The Cats movie.
oh my
oh,
gosh.
You
Mm.
could have
what an
gone to the theater
awful,
and
awful, awful fucking
Cat,
day
Cat
that
Wars.
would be. I guess that would make episode 9 a lot better.
Yeah. A pinnacle of
I
film.
guess that would have been the way to see it. I actually kind of wish I saw Cats before episode 9. I would have been way more positive on it.
That's hilarious.
Or everyone was saying Dark Knight and Mamma Mia came out the same day. That would have been awesome.
yeah, if only,
Mm.
if only.
If
Only
only.
we knew.
So,
Ah.
Well,
Yeah,
movies.
the future of the industry is very interesting right now. The way everything's moving is just really fascinating.
Yeah.
My finger is no longer on the pulse of anything anymore,
Yeah,
too. So
same.
I keep getting surprised by things. It's like even like the Barbie and Oppenheimer thing. Like I really wasn't aware of that strongly until like a few weeks ago, or like a few weeks before I saw it. So it's kind of nice being surprised, wonderfully surprised by that
Yeah.
Barbie movie. That was really
So
cool.
kind of almost impossible to have your finger on the pulse with how things
Mm.
are moving so quickly.
It's
You
just
know?
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Also the oldest I've ever felt, so doesn't help.
And the youngest you'll ever be. So there's that.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I am happy with the resurgence of
Amazing.
our faithful podcast
Recap.
listeners.
Yeah.
We even got to
Yeah,
feature
it's
one,
been years.
our number one fan on here.
The archives
Yeah.
are fat and need to be released, and they're going to be totally outdated whenever I get around to that, but it's going to be amazing. So, but this one will go up. I'm hoping to get the password and
Just start.
put it up
You
tonight.
should.
Yeah,
You
I
should put
should
it
just
onto
upload.
VHS and just drop it into like Goodwills, and so then
Just-
like eventually it may find its way into the hands of Red Letter
Red
Media.
Letter Media. That honestly, if we had Red Letter Media review something that either
Oh, they
we or
wouldn't
you
touch
guys
this.
did, like just like if they reviewed Bobby
Ooh,
Fresh, I think I would cry. I would
yeah.
cry.
Could we finagle something to put Bobby Fresh into a a
Like a
4:3 ratio and stick it onto a
I'd
VHS?
be
why don't we
too
just send them
terrified of what they
send
have to
them the
say about it.
send them a ripped DVD.
I don't know. I
Like
don't know
don't
if I
even
could handle that.
yeah. Send them a ripped
I think that
DVD.
could possibly. I think that could potentially ruin my life.
I think that could cause ego death within
Yeah.
Greg.
People would be like emailing you out of nowhere asking for copies
That's
of
true.
his
That's true.
I am good. I don't want that to happen.
I think it would fall into the category of like you guys loved your craft, and that's
sure.
what'll stand out. So
That is true.
I hope so.
but yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's a great episode. Amazing.
I agree.
Big time.
And we couldn't get Rand Rogers on this one.
Yeah, he got the fuck out of here.
For the best. I hate that guy.
Yeah, probably for the best.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording.
All
We
right,
came
cool.
in at a crisp hour and